the Iraq War, the radicalization of Iran, the Syrian civil conflict, climate change. These wars, these instances of bloodshed and violence, these threats to humanity share one thing. They are fueled by the United States' dependency on oil. In 1953, the Prime Minister of Iran passed a policy that dictated that Iran now controlled its own oil pipelines instead of big Western companies. In the heat of desire to take back this control, the United States intentionally destabilized a perfectly stable nation. The United States was so desperate to maintain control on these pipes that it intervened with its military in Iraq and Afghanistan. The United States kept killing innocent civilians, breeding resentment towards America. According to the Global Research Center, after 9/11, the United States went into Iraq not to find al-Qaeda, but because of Iraq's massive oil reserves, sparking a 14-year war in the process. When the United States intervened, anti-American hate festered in the heart of the Middle East and gave birth to the extremist groups that we all fear today. And the thing is, this wasn't even an issue before the United States intervened. In fact, Gary Leach explains that extremism and suicide bombings were unimaginable 50 years ago. By intervening, the United States created a threat to all American citizens. And the reason why some people can say that all refugees are terrorists and that we should ban them from our country, and the reason why Islamophobia is still so prevalent in America today, is because of our dependency on oil, because of the generalization of a single threat that we have created. There's so much anti-immigration hate in America. In fact, it sounds silly, but it's true. I'm scared I'm going to get deported to China. Deported to China, even though I was born here in America. This hate, this fear, is because of the wars that we constantly wage on foreign nations, because of our dependency on oil. When we look to the root of the problem, all we find is oil. And it gets worse, it will get worse, because the more we use, the less we have, the more expensive it gets, the more the United States feels the need to control every last drop. And because our new Secretary of State is ExxonMobil CEO, we will see a rise in oil-related conflict, and we will see a rise in human rights abuses. According to the Developer Center, oil is the main driver of all global conflict right now. The United States will continue to be dependent on oil. The United States will continue to make foreign nations, foreign wars worse because of our greed, our drive to control this product of the earth unless we do something about it. I mean, what can we do? I mean, everyone in power loves oil, especially the aforementioned Secretary of State. But why? I mean, if you think about it, it's rather silly. Oil. Out of all the things to fight for, oil. We have other sources of energy, solar panels, windmills, hydroelectric dams. But unfortunately, these sources remain far too underdeveloped and far too expensive to become a commodity anytime soon, even though we take steps to switch to green tech every day. No. The real issue is that oil takes up far too much of our economy for politicians to just let it go. But politicians are only invested in oil because we, the consumers, make it valuable. We, the consumers, create this demand for oil because we, the consumers, are dependent on these crude oil products such as plastic. I suppose the only real way to fix this is for us to all stop using electricity and become bearded hippies who don't wear clothes. Because, shocker, clothes, technically a petroleum product. At that point, it seems rather hopeless. It seems so easy to give up. These oil products are so heavily incorporated into our everyday lives, left and right. Everywhere you look, you see a petroleum product staring you in the face. But it doesn't take much to decrease our oil usage, just by a little. Because even using a glass cup instead of a plastic one when brushing your teeth, or opting for an all-natural lip tint instead of your typical oil-based lipstick, or even, believe it or not, finding an alternate solution to a headache instead of popping a couple of Advils will help decrease our plastic consumption, thus decreasing our oil usage. It's that easy. It's that simple. After all, a couple of extra dollars for a glass cup over a plastic one is the smallest price that we can pay to prevent olive oil's harmful effects. Because if we continue to use oil, we are left with two options. Either climate change destroys us, or we destroy ourselves. And as far off as climate change might seem, oil dependency poses a threat to all of mankind right now. The United States will continue to be dependent on oil and put countless American lives at risk, not only because of the military endeavors that we embark on, but because of the threat that we have created, because of the hate and fear that that has generated. That extra dollar pales in comparison to the hundreds of thousands of lives that are put at risk every single day because we need our new Lululemon leggings every single year. We as a generation have to accept this responsibility to take what the previous one has given us and pave the way for future generations, because one person alone cannot do it. Raising awareness isn't enough. Clicking interested on a Facebook event and not actually going doesn't actually change anything. What changes things is action. We as a generation have to take action. Sounds cheesy, but it's true. The change starts with us, and it's not even hard. Thank you.